Breath became background. Just another function instead of your most powerful portal. Not gone, just forgotten. Like a song you used to know by heart, now humming faintly beneath the noise. What if that first breath contained more than just oxygen? What if it held the blueprint of your essence? What if, in that inhale, was the signal of what you really are before your beliefs, your fears, your stories started defining you? And what if, just what if, returning to that breath could rewind something in your energy, reset what the ego distorted, and reconnect you with the part of you that knows reality is malleable, not fixed? You might not believe it yet. You might be thinking, I breathe all the time. What power could that possibly have? But what you don't see is how breath carries frequency, how it shapes your nervous system, how it calibrates your heart and mind to resonate with different versions of yourself. And I promise, it's far more powerful than you think. Think of your first breath as your primal key, a key that unlocks the portal between what you've been conditioned to believe and what you actually came here to remember. All your life, your breath has been doing heavy lifting, carrying fear, holding tension, storing what was never resolved. The breath became the silent witness of every pain, every tension, every moment you believed you weren't enough. And with every shallow breath, you drifted farther from that portal. But there's a way back in. Here's the wild part. Within just moments of breathing with awareness, breathing with intention, your field begins to shift. Not magically, but mechanistically. Neuroscience shows that conscious breathing changes brainwave rhythms. It can activate coherence between the heart's electromagnetic field and the brain. It can turn down the volume of the fight or flight state, the paranoia, the ego's relentless chatter. Breath can become a gateway. Let's lean into something few people talk about. Theta and delta waves became more pronounced, especially during deep relaxation periods. These slower vibrations correlate with creativity, deep intuition, emotional healing. You don't need decades of practice or exotic retreats, just consistent breathing. Another study measured heart rate variability during paced deep breathing. It found that even 1 minute of slow, intentional breath significantly correlates with 24-hour heart rate variability markers. Those are like fingerprints of your nervous system's capacity to stay calm, adaptive, creative, resilient. When your heart rate variability goes up, your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and rebuild mode, gets stronger. Fear and survival mode loosen their grip. Think of your brain waves as musical notes. When you're stressed, your brain tends to stay in a high, agitated pitch, usually beta waves, sometimes even gamma bursts when you're overwhelmed. It's loud, frantic. Breathing slows this down. It shifts your brain from sharp notes into smoother harmonies, more alpha, theta, delta, depending on the breath, which are associated with calm, insight, healing. Meditation studies show these changes clearly. Here's something astonishing. After 8 weeks of breathing practice combined with mindfulness, like mindfulness-based stress reduction, there was increased coherence between the brain and heart. The alpha frequency peaks synchronized more with heart rhythms. It means your field, your inner world, is no longer disjointed. Your heart and mind begin to oscillate together. When they do that, your vibration becomes magnetic. It becomes something the quantum field can't ignore. If you've ever done breathwork or tried meditation, perhaps you noticed a moment of peace or clarity or creativity. Maybe after exhaling a long-held tension, or maybe your body relaxed first and your mind followed. Those moments are not just pleasant breaks from reality. They are proof that breath can collapse old states of being and open into new ones. But here's the paradox. Knowing this, doing it once, feeling good momentarily, many people believe that's enough. They think the shift has begun because their head felt lighter. But the field doesn't respond to moments. It responds to consistent change in baseline vibration. The baseline is wired into your subconscious, into your habitual breath, posture, emotional reactivity. That's the part that we seldom see. Your habitual breath, shallow, scattered, reactive, has been reinforcing old stories of stress, fear, lack. But every time you draw a full, slow, intentional breath and release with coherence, you're sending new data. You're remodeling brain networks, strengthening your vagus nerve, reducing amygdala hijack, quieting default mode network, that mental chatter loop. Studies support this. EEG changes show alpha reduction when attention increases, or when meditative focus increases. Imagine if in 30 days you practiced breathing rituals that touch these mechanisms daily, not to fix something but to realign who you are. What would your vibration even look like then? What would your reality even start reflecting back? Because breath does more than calm. Breath is a tool. It's an instrument. When mastered, it becomes a bridge between surviving and thriving, between what was and what could be. So in the next few minutes, we'll explore specific breathing protocols grounded in science, ones that don't require spiritual woo, but which are measurable, repeatable, and verifiable. You'll learn how to use breath to alter brainwaves, shift nervous system states, and raise vibration so intentionally that manifesting isn't a ritual, it becomes your natural rhythm. Take a slow breath now. Inhale deeply. Feel your lungs expand. Exhale fully. Have you ever taken a breath so conscious that everything paused, even if just for a second, and you felt something inside you shift? That tiny moment when time seems softer. Fear backs off, and you sense that things could feel different. What if I told you that moment holds the secret to collapsing new realities? Realities that are trembling on the edge of your current vibration, waiting for you to breathe into them. Because here's the thing, the quantum field doesn't respond to your wishful thinking. It responds to your inner state, your frequency, and breath is one of the most immediate, underutilized master keys to accessing and transforming that state. Let me explain how this works, blending science, lived experience, and the energetic geometry of your being. Your body, heart, nervous system, and consciousness are emitting constant signals. When you breathe while feeling, while believing, while imagining your reality already there, you signal to the quantum field, I'm ready. You open the container for miracle, for collapse of timelines, for reality to reconfigure around your inner frequency. This is why certain breath techniques produce what people call mystical states: clarity, insight, emotion, synchronicity. It's not mystical to science, it's emergent coherence. When breathing slow, deep, intentionally, you reduce noise in your heart-brain field. You quiet the default mode network. You reduce physiological entropy. And then the field begins responding. Not because you forced it, because you aligned the inside. Let me ask you, when was the last time you breathed into possibility rather than away from fear? The last time you inhaled as if you were stepping into your dream self, even if you couldn't see their life yet? If you can't remember, that's okay. It's not about having a perfect record. It's about starting now. Because here's the open loop we're going to close later. In a few chapters, you'll learn a breathing protocol so precise, so intentional, that even just 5 minutes of practice will begin shifting baseline vibration. It will begin opening doors that felt shut. But first, you must see how breath connects with your voltage, with your heart's electromagnetic field, how it changes you more deeply than anything you do on autopilot. When you breathe with awareness, you literally reprogram your pulse. You vibrate your identity. You signal your presence. And the quantum field starts contracting around the version of you who lives in ease, abundance, love, purpose. So take a moment. Inhale slowly. Hold just long enough to feel possibility rise. Exhale, letting go of what's limiting you. Feel your heart and mind align, however briefly. That burst of coherence is not small. It's a tremor. The shifting of dimensions begins there. Stay open, because next we'll dive into how to work with memories you've forgotten, emotional blocks hidden in your breath's shadow, and how the child inside you still carries the code of what you once believed you couldn't have. And that, my friend, is the key for manifesting fully. Because the breath doesn't just change what you experience, It changes who you believe you are. There's a moment deep inside your body, a quiet pulse, a whisper of memory, when you remember who you were before the world taught you to hide. Before blame, before fear, before doubt. Before you believed survival was more important than presence. That pulse is your inner child, the version of you who breathed freely, dreamed wildly, and trusted reality as a playground, not a battlefield. You may not see them often anymore. They're tucked behind adult masks, behind responsibilities, behind the musts and shoulds. And yet, every sigh, every shallow breath, every moment of tension is a call from that part of you, wanting to be seen, wanting to breathe again, fully. What if reconnecting with that child, remembering how it felt to just be, could shake up your entire vibration? What if that reconnection is the missing link between your current reality and the one you long for? You see, breath guided with intention becomes a bridge, a pulsable portal into those early states of wonder, innocence, possibility. Psychiatric research, quantum healers like Grof, and spiritual teachers like Dispenza all agree. Suppressed emotion, unacknowledged memory, unresolved early life tension collects in the nervous system. It creates distortion in your field. But breath, deep, conscious, with compassionate awareness, has the power to unlock those gates. It doesn't erase the past, it integrates it. Imagine this. You lie down somewhere quiet. You close your eyes. You breathe. Slowly. With each inhale, you imagine drawing back the parts of yourself the world asked you to shrink. With each exhale, you let go of stories that said you weren't enough, that said love is conditional, that said future needs fight. You may feel sadness, shame, longing. That's the child. That's truth. Let them breathe. Now here's something almost nobody shares. When you truly breathe into that place, with tenderness, with honesty, your vibration changes not just in obvious ways, but in invisible, foundational ways. Your field starts to pulse differently. The electromagnetic coherence of your heart and your brain smooths out. The internal frequency rises. And the quantum mirror begins to show reflections that weren't visible before. Reflections of peace, acceptance, aligned dreams, capacity. But here's the kicker. You won't believe the mirror until you face the child in front of you. Not with judgment, not with shame, but with gentleness, with curiosity, with love. Because that child doesn't need perfection. They need presence.